Hey everybody, how are you? Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Hi Kathy. Glad to see we've got people popping in here already right away. Hopefully my sound and video is all working well. Good morning Arlette. Glad to see everybody. I am going to be showing you guys some really fun mixed media stuff today. So I hope everyone is ready to get a little bit messy. Not too bad though. I'm kind of a neat freak when I craft. I know not everyone is, but I try to keep everything contained and not get my fingers dirty. And then I always clean up after every card. I don't know. Tell me guys, what do you guys do? Those of you that watch know I clean up after every card because my space kind of explodes with crafty goodness, and then that causes me a lot of anxiety before I go back to craft another card. So I am so happy you're here. I see lots of people are coming in. Yay, yay, yay. And we're going to be working with a few more items from the January release. Now, the February release goes live tomorrow, so that is super exciting. So be sure to sign up for the Pick Event Studios newsletter. If you haven't already, you can do that on the website. And then you get notified about new releases as well as when I'm going live, videos, that kind of stuff. And also, if you guys would be awesome and subscribe and share and do all that social media goodness, I would appreciate it. So we're going to be working with some sparkly stuff. You guys know I love bling. So let me pop you over to my desktop. Okay. And today, if you guys comment, I'll be able to see it. Last week, I realized after the fact, the reason I was not seeing all the comments was because I had it on top chat instead of live chat in my settings. And so it wasn't showing all of the chat messages. So check yours too if you want to make sure you see all of those chats coming in. And hopefully you guys are a little bit more talkative this week. Man, I think everybody needed their coffee last week, me included. Okay, so I've just got a piece of regular copy paper, like printer paper, nothing exciting. And then I'm going to take an A2 sized card panel. And this is 110 pound Nina Solar White. This is a great paper for mixed media because it's a little bit thicker, so it doesn't tend to warp as much as it's drying. So I'm going to take that, and I'm going to be working today with this fun stencil. This is the Bake a Cookie A2 layering stencil set. So it comes with 2 stencils here. You can see this base. This creates all these fun little cookie shapes. And then, hi Sharon. This is the top layer to create your little chocolate chips or icing or whatever it is that you want to add on to your cookies. So we're going to start out with the base layer here, and I just want to make sure I have it lined up correctly. No. Maybe. Okay, we have a winner. There we go. So you could use pixie tape or pixie spray if you wanted to, or any other kind of repositionable spray. The one that I use is Scotch 3M. They all do the same thing. But I have found with the new formulation on the paper Glitz, it's a little thicker, so I don't feel like I need to use that pixie spray. So that's good. Now this is the newest color of paper Glitz. There's 2 in this release. This one is Buttercream, Look at all that sparkly, beautiful goodness. And then let me show you, let me grab the other one just so you can see it. This is Red Velvet Cake. So this is the second new paper glitz color. Not going to be using this one today, but it's really, really pretty. So we're going to open this up. Sharon, right? Yeah, it's a super cute stencil with the layering. I love it. You can do it without, and I'll show you later. This stencil right here makes a really fun looking abstract stencil for abstract kind of circles for a background too. So it does double duty. So I just have, let's see, where's my, this is my favorite spatula to use. You guys can see I've got a whole plethora of them. Some I like to use for other products, but when I'm using Glitz or my paper Glaze Lux, I like to use this slightly angled one. So you always want to give your Glitz a nice little stir because there is a ton of glittery goodness in this. And you're going to see when it is dry, if you've never used the Glitz before, just how sparkly this is. So now I've got a good little mixing going on there. And I'm just going to bring this down right over my stencil. Now if you hear that scratching noise, you'll get that with the Glitz, and you'll also get that when you're working with Paper Lux. That is just because of all that lovely, glittery, blingy goodness. That's all I can say. It's amazing. And if you like glitter, but you hate the mess of glitter and how it gets everywhere and stuff like that and falls off your card, then definitely check out the paper Glitz because it is super glittery, but it doesn't go anywhere. So it doesn't take too much. Paper Glitz is a self-leveling medium. So what that means is that as it dries, it will even out. You don't have to worry about getting everything kind of perfectly level unless you're like me and you do anyway. We've all got our issues. And then you always just want to make sure that you seal this up when you're not using it, just like with any other pastes or mixed media products. Now I'm going to grab a baby wipe here real quick. And you do want to clean off your stencils. I have a little pan next to my desk that just has some soapy water in it. And I'm going to put it in there. But if you're at home, you obviously could get up and go and just rinse it off in the sink really quick. Okay. Now I like to use just some kind of little pokey tool when I am removing my stencil. And there is a little hole at the edge of the stencil that's actually to help line things up. But I also find it's really helpful for pulling up the stencil and keeping my little fingers clean. There we go. I'm just gonna put this right over in that dish so it can stay wet while I'm working. The other thing you want to do is you don't want to you can let this dry just like this without moving it. But you know these areas here where I went over, it's gonna kind of glue itself to the paper. So what I actually do is I go ahead and I lift this up very carefully, grab it from the edges, and then I just take this little piece of copy paper, fold it over, and set it right back down on there to let it dry. Okay? Now I want you to look at what this looks like when it's wet, because I'm going to show you a side by side of what it looks like when it's wet versus what it looks like when it is dry. Look at that. You see all that sparkly goodness? Love it. I just love how that looks. So you can see it self-levels. It dries a little bit flatter than it looks when it's wet. So you get this nice flat sparkliness. So I'm going to set this one aside to dry. But for purposes of today, we're going to move on to the next step because I have this already prepared card panel. Right, Heather? That sparkle is awesome. Love it. Who loves sparkle? I know not everybody does. Okay, I've got my paper trimmer here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim this down. Now, I would actually, if I was not doing a live, I would wait and trim this down later, but because it's going to be slightly wet when I add my second layer, you're going to see I want to trim it right now. So, and you'll see where I'm going with this as we get there. Yeah, I think right about there is where I want it. Oh, maybe a little bit higher. Okay guys, so I'm trimming this at an angle and it'll cut right through that mixed media when it's dry. And the reason I've trimmed that at an angle is because I want to use this on a card front. So it's gonna go just like this once everything is said and done. And you have kind of a 2-for-1. So if you flip the other piece around, you can use this also on a card front and get 2 cards out of one sparkly paper. Ooh, good. I've got Cece, Kathy. Yes, my sparkle girls. We love the bling, right, ladies? Okay. Question, Arlette, do you use the copy paper to keep your work surface cleaner? So the reason I use the copy paper is because I know I'm going to set aside the piece to dry, and I want it to be on something that I know I can handle without sticking my fingers on there. So one, yes, it does keep my work surface cleaner. I don't have to do that. I also could have just used a larger piece of cardstock so that the stencil, you know, like a piece of paper that was larger than the stencil, and then cut it down later. So it's just a personal preference. When I'm doing lives especially, I like to do it on a piece of copy paper. Then I don't have to worry about it. Okay, we're going to take our little cut piece here. We're going to bring in that second stencil. So this is, you can see now, going to go right over this stencil. And again, just going to grab a little piece of copy paper here just to make things easier while we're live. And I am going to line this up. I think I turned it upside down. Did I? I don't know now. This is what happens, guys. When there we go. Okay. One of these things is not like the other. Okay. And again, I'm just going to tape this down real quick here so it doesn't move around on me. And for this first card, I'm going to bring in, this is one of our new colors of Paper Glaze Lux. This is chocolate frosting. Now you might be wondering, why is this one Paper Glaze Lux and why is this one Paper Glitz? Well, the Glitz is really, really super glittery. It's the most glittery product that Pick a Fence Studios has for their mediums. Lux is the second most glittery, so this has a lot of glitter in it, but not quite as much as the Glitz. The Glitz is self-leveling and it dries thin, like you saw, it dries kind of flatter. The Lux is not self-leveling, it's more like your standard texture paste with glitter. So it dries however you leave it, it has more dimension as well. So you do want to make sure you get it nice and smooth. But this is going to dry really nicely. Right now it kind of reminds me of like brownie batter or something like that. Let me grab my little spatula here. And you don't need much because these openings are pretty small, but we're going to do paste on paste. This is a fun technique to do. You do want to make sure whatever you are using for your first medium, whether it's Glitz or Lux or Velvet or whatever, you just want to make sure it is completely dry before you do this next layer. And the reason is if it's not completely dry, you're not going to get those real crisp differences between the two layers, and you run the risk of messing up the base layer with the stencil by setting it on there. See, so it didn't take very much at all. I'm going to close this up. Clean off my tool. We're going to use this again. Hi, Jane. Good evening from United Kingdom. Thank you for joining us. And we're going to peel this up super careful. There we go. All right, I'm actually gonna clean this off because I'm gonna use it again. So before I do that, I'm gonna lift this up. Just to show you guys. See, so we have all that fun chocolate chip looking goodness on there. It'll dry back just a little bit, and it's going to lighten a little bit too as it dries. If you have any little spots you don't like on the edges, you can just kind of run your finger on there if you want to. All right, I'm going to set this over here, move this aside, and I'm actually going to clean this off real quick so we can do the second piece. I'm going to grab, I'm going to grab my pan of water, you guys. Sorry. Just so you can see, this is what I keep off to the side of my desk. It's some type of pan like this. You can see my other stencils just hanging out in here. And I have a little nylon brush. Now the nylon brush is essential for cleaning stencils. You want to be kind of careful with it. You don't want to go crazy wild with it. But the nylon brush is not going to snag on all of those little spots on your stencil. So just going in a nice little circular motion, and it's going to get all of those little spots nice and clean. Almost. Figured I'd do this on camera this time. I usually do this off camera and then you guys just see nothing. It's kind of boring. Flip it over, clean off the other side. Now if I let this sit, rather than just like going in and trying to clean it right away, it would have been a lot, it would have come off much faster because it would have had a chance to like sit in the water. Okay, that's good enough for alive. I'm gonna grab my flour sack towel so we can dry it off. My well-loved flour sack towel. This I use all the time to dry my stencils. It does such a good job, and it does not bend any of those little parts of your stencil. Okay, there we go. And then I will move this back out of the way and try not to spill it all over my whole work surface. It's like one of those dreams where you like, when you're younger and you show up in your underwear to class or something, right? Like, I'm gonna start having dreams about spilling my whole pan of water while I'm doing a live. Let's see. Oh, Cece, you're very welcome. Yeah, I figured some people, you know, that's just something I figured out over time, picking up tips from other people. So definitely, if you ever have a question like with just those kinds of things like that, I'm always happy to answer them. Or like behind the scenes, right? Kathy, you got them. Yay, you said you had ordered them. I'm so excited. You'll have to post and let me see how your cards turn out after trying them. Okay, let's see if I can line this one up now that I've got it all twisted around. So this is just the other half of that same piece that we cut down. And again, I'm going to tape it down. And I think I might also put my magnet on one of the sides. Make sure it's all lined up. I think that's pretty good. I'm just going to bring in a magnet to you guys. Okay. And you know what? It's just kind of going up a little bit more than I want it to. So I'm going to tape that side down too. There we go. Okay, for this card, the very first live I think I did after the release, I showed you guys this trio of the Paper Glaze Velvet, the new soft pastel trio. I'm going to use the pink out of this trio. And the velvet dries kind of matte, and it has a really nice velvety finish to it. So it looks really pretty when you combine it with the Glitz or the Lux, like doing a layered like this, because you get two different textures and finishes to your items. So same thing, just gonna take a little bit and bring it right over my Glitz that's dried down there. And you also could just not put anything and just leave that base layer, because it kind of looks like the Glitz through that base layer kind of looks like a snickerdoodle cookie to me. And what do you guys think? Oh, you know what? I'm curious. What's everybody's favorite cookie? I know Girl Scout cookie season is right now, and I really, really want to get some Girl Scout cookies, but I'm trying to be good because we're going to go on vacation in like a month and a half. The struggle is real. I think they changed the name of my favorite cookie too. So my favorite cookie is the Samoa, and they changed the name to something new. I can't even remember what it's called. You can tell I've been eyeing them. Haven't ordered them yet though. We'll see if I can hold out. Put my stencil back in the dish to just let that soak in there. And now we have pretty pink velvet on top of our sparkly glitz. So you can see, like when you turn the light, there we go, there's a good, the glitz is very sparkly, whereas the velvet has that nice matte finish to it. Now I'm handling this more than I normally would, so I might have some little dinged up corners of velvet on the finished card, but that's okay. Okay, I think for now, I don't think I'm going to be using the mixed media anymore today, but let me show you side by side kind of how different of a look you can get. So we've got chocolate chip cookies, and here we've got some cookies with maybe some pink buttercream on them. Looks really cute. Let's set that aside. Heather, sugar cookie or snickerdoodle? Yeah. I wouldn't turn away any cookies either. I love cookies. Arlette, the Thin Mints are delicious, especially if you put them in the freezer. Oh, Jane, yes, biscuits for you. I was so confused the first time I traveled internationally, and someone offered me a biscuit, and this was years and years and years ago. I was, I don't know, probably 15 or so, and someone had offered me a biscuit, and I was like, a biscuit? Why would I eat a biscuit? Because for us in the US, a biscuit is like a big bready kind of hockey puck looking kind of thing, and you put like jam on it. It's more of a bread. And so I said sure, because I was being polite, and they were cookies, and I was like, wait, what? What is going on? Yes, of course I will have all the biscuits. They are delicious. Okay, I'm going to, we're waiting for those to dry, so actually I'm not going to do this step yet. Instead, Arlette, have you ever had the Thin Mints out of the freezer? They're so good. What am I doing? No. We're going to let that dry. We're going to set this aside. Where are we on time? Okay, we're at 10:30. We are good to go. I'm going to bring out the cookie making die set. I made a card with this a couple weeks ago. I still haven't trimmed that packaging down. I need to trim it down. Let me show you the card I made a couple of weeks ago. Oh, and while I'm doing that, I'm going to give you guys, what did I do with them? Here's the card I made from a couple of weeks ago. If you missed that live, you can go back and see that replay if you want to. What did I do with those cards? Oh, here they are. So this is kind of a sneak. I have this coming up in a video, but I want to show you guys real quick. That background I created, that is with the base layer that I use to, I have another one here, do the cookies. How cool is that? Okay. We're going to cut a couple of these little, no, where's my, let me use this one. We're going to cut a couple of these cookies from the cookie making die set just to add on to our finished card. Right, Heather? Those bright colors, so fun. Arlette with vanilla ice cream. Oh, the Thin Mints? Yeah. Yum, yum, yum. Cece, I know. I'm a sweet person. I am not a, well, I shouldn't say that. Of course I like chips. But I will take a cookie over a bag of chips any day of the year. That is what I love. Okay, I'm going to cut a couple of these things. This one's a little piping bag, which is fun. Arlette, I have a couple of different cutters. So I have my Platinum 6. Which I use all the time for everything. That's my main cutter. And then I also have a Hero Arts compact cutter, and I have a Bitty Buzz cutter from Honeybee. So I have a couple of different, don't judge me. I love all the things. I have a lot of different stuff. So just kind of depending on what I'm going to be doing, I wanted to use a smaller tabletop one because I wanted to be able to look at all the things as I was working while we were sitting here. So this die cuts out 2 circles and several hearts and makes some fun little cookies with those. Let's set these aside. Off you go. And then this one, I think I'm going to cut. This creates like a little swirl, little swirly bit. I think I'll cut this one too. Maybe I'll cut that one twice. Just so we have some variety. I might not use all of them, or I might end up cutting more, but we'll just start with this. Pepperidge Farm butter pecan are my favorite cookies. Ooh, I do like a good butter pecan cookie. I also like, not a lot of people do, but I also like butter pecan ice cream. We, my next door neighbor, who I'm also very good friends with, we go camping in the summer often, a couple times every summer. And the last summer we went camping up in, where were we? I can't remember exactly where we were, but somewhere up in the mountains in Washington. And we went to this ice cream place and they had Butterbrickle ice cream, which you don't see very often. I remember seeing it a lot more when I was a kid. Ooh, that's kind of squeaky. Sorry about that. But I like butter pecan and I like Butterbrickle. Butterbrickle, if you've never had it, is that same kind of flavor of butter pecan, except for it has like little toffee pieces in it. And so I ordered that, and my friend ordered that, and she had never had it before. And I think she went back and got the ice cream like 3 times while we were camping because she loved it so much and she had never had it before. She was cracking me up. She's like, I may never have this again. Okay. We've got 2 of those cookies, that cookie. We've got the little heart cookies, and then we're gonna do our buttercream piping bag. I'm gonna have to get some WD-40 or something on there, guys, so it doesn't squeak while I'm doing lives. Okay, so this cuts out the base of the bag, and then it cuts out all of the little accompanying pieces, which you can use if you want to or not, or whatever parts of them you want to, depending on how 3D you want the little bag to look, what colors you want to make those pieces. I'm going to keep it pretty simple today, so I'm probably only going to use a couple of them and just leave it white. I'll just add some in to give it a little bit of texture. All right, let's move this out of the way. I still can't get over how cute this little baking sheet die is that you can add all the cookies to. It's adorable. Let's see, I'm going to set that right there in case I need it again. I'm going to bring out my paper inking palette. So you guys can see, this is how I store it. I store it next to me kind of in like a little shelf area where I have like little slots I can put it in. And I just keep it there, and anytime I'm going to be doing any kind of coloring on die cuts, I just pull it out and I'm ready to go. And the reason I do that is because if you haven't seen me use this yet, it just makes coloring things so much easier. I'm gonna, I think, do everything pretty standardized in terms of color. I'm gonna leave the piping bag white. We'll do our cookies in kind of a light brown, and we'll do our little, what would you call those, squiggles, I guess, in pink, along with the hearts in pink. So I've got some pink, and then I have some light brown. Let me grab my Pouncers here real quick. What did I do with... Oh, I don't think I've pulled it out yet. Hold on. Okay, there we go. So we are going to use the Pouncers to color everything. I've got my brown Pouncer here, and I'm just going to pounce over these cookies. This will lighten up a little bit too as it dries, so it's not going to be quite so dark. But you just pounce into the ink, and the more you use these, the faster you will get, guys. Like, it's, I have a really good sense now of exactly kind of how much ink to put on there to get the look I'm going for. But they're so fast. Super fast. They don't hurt my wrist at all. I have carpal tunnel in my wrist. And so sometimes when I'm using the blending brush, it bothers my wrists. Now, most of the time I just power through because I love my craft and because I make, you know, videos for a living. For you guys, and but when I can use the Pouncers, I use them because they are so much easier on my wrists. We'll let those set aside there. Set these aside. See, there are a lot of tiny pieces to this set. It's true. But when you're working with something like a sticky mat or the paper inking palette and your Pouncers, like it's really easy to make sure you don't lose anything and to color everything. And I prefer, I do sometimes use colored cardstock, but I personally, if I am, I guess I shouldn't say, I do both because I like the look of both. I like the look of cardstock. I also like the look of inked die cuts. I tend to ink my die cuts a lot more than I do with the cutting out colored cardstock. Oh, Kathy, what did Laura say? Anything with pecans, walnuts, any nuts, caramel, and or chocolate. Here's the thing, Laura. I don't know that there's ever an ice cream that I didn't like. I think the only one I probably wouldn't eat now as an adult is they had I remember when I was a kid, everybody always wanted the bubblegum ice cream. So it was like blue and it had gumballs in it. I don't know if anybody else had that at their like little ice cream shops that they went to, or if they even still make it. I haven't ever noticed. But that is one that I probably would pass on. Other than that, though, there's really not much that I would pass on when it comes to ice cream or cookies for that matter. Although I am one of those people that does not believe there should be raisins in oatmeal raisin cookies. I like them. I like the Scotchies, I think is what they're called. And those are oatmeal cookies with butterscotch chips in them. And I think that is a much better combination than oatmeal with raisins. Blech. I also love carrot cake, but if there's raisins in it, I'll pick out the raisins. But here's a real, like, interesting thing. I like Raisin Bran. So it's not a matter of I don't like raisins. I just don't like them in certain things. I don't know. I'm kind of a weirdo like that. So you can see I just put a couple of the little pieces on here. I'm not going to put them all. I just wanted to add that little bit of texture on there to make it look, I think you're getting some light reflection, there we go, more like a piping bag on there. Oatmeal cookies with chocolate chips, also good. Yum, yum, yum. And I think, should I color this little tip? Yeah, why not? Let's color the tip with some gray really quickly. Grab a light gray here. And this is where those tiny pieces start coming into play that you mentioned. Cece, I think it's who said that. But if you also, I recommend using a wax pickup tool. It makes working with those teeny tiny little pieces so much easier. I'm just gonna get a little bit of gray on there to make it look kind of silver. You also could color it with a Copic marker if you don't want to get an ink out to do that. Ooh, geez, guys. Sorry. Fumble fingers over here. And we'll just pop this right over the top there. Getting kind of stuck to my palette. There we go. Come on. It's not dry yet, so it doesn't want to stick to the wax. But that's okay. We'll make it work. There we go. I don't know. Probably could have left it with or without. I don't know that it really matters. I did, however, though, get my paper messy with something. Oh well. Let me grab my little adhesive eraser. And if that doesn't work, I always try my adhesive eraser first. And then if that doesn't work, I use my little white eraser. And that will usually work. Worst case scenario, if it doesn't come off at all, whatever it is, I will use my white gel pen. Let's put our cookies together. So I'm just gonna I don't really have any rhyme or reason to what I'm doing here, guys, because I don't know what I'm gonna use on the card. But I'm just gonna throw these together real quick. We'll put a little heart in the center of that one. Maybe another little heart on maybe the small one. And then we get our little squiggles. Just kind of dot some glue on there. A little squiggly on there. And put another little squiggly on this one. And then maybe let's go ahead and get one of these little guys with some hearts on it. Just in case I want to use it. I don't know if I will, but might as well have it ready to go. There we go. Okay. Put these aside. Let's see how our panels are doing, if they have dried. Hopefully they have dried by this point. Now the velvet tends to dry pretty quickly. Let's see how it's doing. Oh yeah, it's pretty much dry. Let's see how the Glaze Lux is doing. Oh, it's getting there. It's pretty dry, so I think we're okay. Let's move on. I want to at least get one of these put together for you. I'm going to bring in, I'm going to make my card base here. This is a 110 pound as well, Lena cardstock. I'm just going to score this here at 4 1/4. Now you could do this onto a card panel and then glue it to your card base, but I figure I might as well just glue it directly to the card base. So we're going to glue this on there. Now the main reason I would recommend waiting until you're sure this is completely dry is because if you are working with it to glue it to anything, like you gotta kind of push right on there. So I'm gonna be extra gentle to try and not kind of mess anything up here. I'm not sure that my card base is 100% straight, but that's okay. Handmade, not Hallmark, right? Now let's get our second card base going. Thanks, Cece. Yeah, these are actually really easy to do. Kathy, those oh, yeah, they do look real. Cece, you need to get some Pouncers. I have the regular size and the pint size are amazing. And if you have questions about anything that I have used today, you can go into the supply link that's at the top of the messages, and the I have that on Facebook as well as on YouTube. And I'm going to just drop in here the pint-sized pouncers as well. So if you go to that link, you should see them. Okay. Card base. I have a video coming out soon on the channel, so keep an eye out for it, with a bunch of different things you guys can do with the pint-sized pouncers. One of those, that card that I showed you earlier as kind of a sneak peek, that's from that video. And I think I made, what, 5 cards for the video? So you're going to see lots of different stuff. It's either 4 or 5. So we'll glue this on there. I really love how this looks. I think it looks so pretty. Just, maybe pretty is not the right word. Cool. It just looks cool. Different, right? You can, as it dries, you can kind of start to see the glitteriness there in the chocolate frosting paper Glaze Lux, but it's not quite as glittery as the Glitz, but you have the fun raised texture of the Lux, which is cool. Okay. For this one, I'm actually going to take a little strip of, what color do I want to use? Dark brown cardstock. So let me grab that. Of course, I don't have that prepared because I wasn't thinking. Let me grab it. Where is my paper cutter? I think that'll be good. Yeah. So what I like to do with my colored cardstocks is I keep them in little sleeves, and then anytime I need like a small piece or something like that, I will go ahead and cut like I'm cutting a card panel in case I need it for a background or something like that. I'll put these back in the sleeve. And then I also keep my one scrap piece that I'm working with. I also put that back in the sleeve. So I don't have like a separate scrap box or anything like that anymore, because I found that I never ever used the scraps out of there because I just would always reach for the cardstock pack. And so I decided to just start keeping it all together, and I'm far, far more likely to use up my little scraps now. So I'm going to put this right along the edge there of our chocolate chip cookie piece. And just dab some glue. This is a really easy card layout. Any kind of pattern paper, any kind of paper where you've done inking or ink smushing or ink blending, anything like that, if you put it at a diagonal like this and then leave this top area white, it's just a really simple kind of anything will work layout. And I always like to put some kind of strip there that coordinates to break up the two spaces. Okay, there we go. See, it's already starting to look very finished. Now we can come in and we're going to stamp our sentiment think I probably am going to go a little bit over today, guys. Hope that's okay. Try and get this wrapped up here pretty quickly. So this is the Lick the Bowl stamps and dies. And I'm going to pull out this Cookies Make Life Better stamp. I've actually used this stamp several times, and I've used this stamp several times. Life is short, make it sweet. I love those two sentiments. And I'm just going to stamp this right along that line. Make sure it's nice and straight. Well, nice and lined up anyway, not straight. And I'll just stamp this in some black hybrid ink. Let me do it twice, I think. So I can get a really dark, bold stamping. There we go. And that finishes that card. Come on. How cute is that? Super cute. Cookies make life better. Yes, they do. All right, we'll set that one aside. Clean that stamp later. And now we're gonna do a similar thing for our pink card here. Only, I'm trying to decide, I don't know. I think for this one, maybe I will not put the strip because I'm gonna have these little cookies kind of popped around on it here and there. Let's see, what do we think? Maybe just the 3 cookies like that, or should we put a couple more? Let's see what it looks like. I don't know that I love it with more. Maybe like that, maybe the 4. Let's do that. Do we think a pink strip should go there? Oof, I'm inclined to do it, guys. Let me grab it. Let me grab a piece of light pink cardstock here. Same deal. Cut it down real quick. And I'm kind of thinking maybe I will do something a little different and stamp on the strip on this one so you can see the difference. So I'll do a little 1/2-inch strip. Let's see how it looks. Not sold yet, guys, so give me a second. I might want to trim this down still. Yeah, and then I can stamp my sentiment right on the pink. Let's try it. If we don't love it, it's not the end of the world. It's only paper. Didn't quite add enough glue. Add a little bit more. Uh-oh. It's not quite far enough over. There we go, now it is. It also looks really pretty if you use metallics for that. I'm gonna have to clean this up later. It's kind of messy. There it goes. Okay. Let's stamp our sentiment. What shall we say on this one? I don't want it to get covered up. Should we do cookies are always the answer maybe on this one? Since we did cookies make life better on the other one. Just when anytime anyone asks you a question, just say cookies. Sorry if my head's getting in here, guys. I'm just trying to make sure it is lined up well. I think that's okay. Let's give it a go. We'll find out. Yes, on the pink strip. Okay, good, Cece. Jane, do you have custard creams? No, I'm intrigued. Kathy, yes, I'm live every Tuesday at 12 Central. Let's do a third stamping. I haven't used this stamp yet, so it has not been conditioned or anything. There we go. That looks good. It's not quite as straight as I would like it, but once the little bits are on there, it will not be noticeable. Sometimes, guys, keep in mind if you ever do anything and you're like, oh, it's not exactly how I wanted it, it's kind of crooked or something. Sometimes once all the pieces are on there, it's not as noticeable anymore. Let me grab some little thin foam squares here. I don't want to do anything too thick on this. All right, pop these up. We'll have to kind of, maybe we should double check first before I start sticking stuff on there, because the sentiment comes a little bit farther than it did when I was just kind of placing things. So let's see if it still looks right. Yeah, that still looks good. I'll pop that there. Whether or not you pop these up is totally a personal preference. I like the extra dimension you get. And I think I might, do I want to pop them all up? I don't know that I want to pop them all up. I think I'll leave this one flat. And I think I'll leave this one flat, and then maybe we'll pop up the icing bag. This is when I've got my focus face going, guys. You guys can't see it, but it's my like hyper focused face. Okay. Make sure I don't have any little stickies sticking out from the sides there. Yeah, set an alarm, Kathy. Good idea. Then you will not forget. Now, I think next week is one of the few weeks I will not be live because I am going to be traveling. But almost every Tuesday, I guess, will be my caveat. Almost every Tuesday. Okay, there we go. Some cute little cookies there. You probably just keep going forever and ever, adding things if you wanted to. I know I can. Let me clear some of this stuff out here real quick so you can have a nice clean view. Where's my other card? There we go. Okay, so that took about an hour and 5 minutes, and you had me jabbering the whole time. And then the only thing that we didn't include was essentially the wait time for the glitz to dry, because I already pre-created a panel before we started, so that would be dry. But I'll show you the one that we created at the beginning. It is now, yeah, it's dry now. See? So it doesn't take too terribly long for it to dry. But here's our two cute little cards. These actually came out better than I was thinking. So there's all that glittery goodness. I'm so happy with how these came out. All right, guys, let me switch you over. Hi. Let me see. Always answer cookie, Cece. Yes. I'm glad you enjoy watching me. Definitely come hang out with me every Tuesday at noon here on the channel. Like, share, comment, all of those things help a lot. And also subscribe to the Pick Event Studios YouTube channel. Lots of cool things happening there. You can like and follow us over on Facebook, all those social things. And I hope you guys will be back next Tuesday. Again, if you have questions, leave them down in the comments and I'll try to answer them if anybody's watching this on the replay. And I'll see you guys again, probably not next week. If I'm not going to be here next Tuesday, I will make a post saying that I won't be alive next Tuesday. But otherwise, every Tuesday, 12 noon Central, come hang out with me. And I hope you guys all have a wonderful Tuesday.